Hey fight fans, welcome to the Fight Network's presentation of Toe to Toe, where we hang out with some of the coolest personalities, most accomplished athletes, and some of the most influential figures in all of combat sports. And I think our guest today kind of fits that criteria and much more. I'm happy to be joined by the former Ultimate Fighter winner, Ultimate Fighter coach, and the former UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, Rashad Evans. Thank you so much for giving us the time here. And first thing I have to notice is that you're a very different guy once the cameras start rolling. We see the smile on your face. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, I think so. I think I come alive when the camera hits me. But yeah, it's something that I learned to do over time, being in front of the cameras from the Ultimate Fighter show. Even now, doing a TV gig that I do for Field TV, so I learned how to turn it on a bit.
What about before that? I mean, you wrestled, so you're always in front of people. Was it always the type of thing where you knew your job was going to be to kind of entertain and just be in front of people?
You know, I'm a shy person by nature, you know, so it took a while for me to kind of get comfortable enough to be myself in front of a large group of people. So it was work in progress.
I want to talk about Niagara Falls. I think when a lot of people think about Niagara Falls, they think of tourist attraction and of the falls itself. What's your experience of Niagara Falls?
Niagara Falls is home for me, and everything that encompasses that. You know, Niagara Falls is a great place for me to grow up. I learned a lot living in Niagara Falls, and you know, I still tap into that aspect from living in the Falls when I got to compete. You know, my upbringing in the Falls. You know, I was from a single parent household, and I have 7 brothers and sisters that I grew up with. So we had it pretty tough, but that tough mindset, that tough upbringing is really what makes me who I am right now as a competitor.
When you hear people talking about Niagara Falls and this, oh yeah, I went there on my honeymoon, I went that, what do you think? Say, hey, that's not the Niagara Falls that I know.
Nah, it's not the Niagara Falls that I know, but you know, Niagara Falls is very beautiful. I remember I used to live right next to the falls after I graduated college when I was living with my sister, and I would go for these runs, and it was just beautiful, and it was majestic because it was the winter time, and it's nothing more beautiful when you see the snow on the ground, but then you look up and then you see the frost on the trees and all the ice on the trees, and it looks like it's like icing on the cake. So it's nothing more beautiful than that, but that's not my experience living in the Falls from that point of view, you know.
Talk about family. Obviously, for a lot of people, it's very important, but when you come from a big family, especially when there's one parent, was there a lot of competition to get attention?
Man, we had so much competition growing up between all the siblings and brothers. It was really, it gave me a thick skin when it came down to being out in the real world, because we were tough on each other. We would make fun of each other all the time. We would constantly fight each other. I had an older brother, Lance, who's 2 years older than me. And Lance was like a terrorist, man. Like, my mom would always constantly make me hang out with him. She'd be like, Lance, you and Rashad, y'all gotta stick together. And she will always find it, like, she always make us always hang out together. Lance hated hanging out with me, so what happened is, as soon as we got away from my mother, out of her eyesight, he'll beat me up. Lance is mean, man. Lance is mean, but because Lance is mean, Lance made me tough.
I want to get to that point, and the point of bullying.
Yeah.
Is there a line where being taught to be tough and then crossing that line to, you know, possibly scar a sibling or another kid for the rest of their lives?
Yeah, there is a fine line between, you know, with the whole bullying, because when it goes to the point where there is no love, there is no kind of respect towards that person, then it goes to only trying to embarrass or humiliate that person at every single chance you get, then that's when it goes too far. But my brother, you know, he loved me, so what would happen is it was just, you know, sibling stuff, and he'll beat me up all the time, but at the end of the day, he's the kind of guy who will punch me in the face, but then help me wipe the blood off my nose.
Was school important to you?
I learned to make school important. You know, at first I was, you know, a C+ student. I really care about school. I had other things that I was worrying about in my life, and school really wasn't one of them, but it was through my sports that helped me to get an appreciation for school, because I had to, in order for me to play sports, I had to be able to be, all right, in school, decent enough to be school. It took me getting ineligible one time for me to be like, listen, this sucks having to sit out because I couldn't make the grade. After that, I was never ineligible again.
What did you want to do when you were in school?
Yeah.
Like, obviously some kids, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman. For the youngest Rashad, what was the goal in life?
The youngest Rashad, we used to have these sick pickup games of football. I mean, we would play football from the time the sun comes up until we would play all the way till it was dark. Even in the wintertime, we'd play like that. But I wanted to be a football player. I wanted to be like Thurman Thomas or Barry Sanders. That's what I wanted to be. As I got a little bit older, I realized that wasn't going to be a reality. So then I kind of switched, and I wanted to be a police officer. And I wanted to be a police officer for the longest time.
Why wasn't being a football player a reality?
Well, I just, after I played football all the way through high school, and it was really my final game that I ever played football. And I had one of the best games I had, and I had the MVP of that game, and we were in the state playoff semifinals. And I had a great game. And despite how good my game was, we still lost. And it was like a realization moment for me. Like, I realized, I'm like, listen, I'm playing a sport that no matter how good I am or how good my effort is, I could still lose and have this feeling. And I was like, it was fun being part of a team, but at the same time, the rewards that I wanted for my effort couldn't come from playing a group sport. I want to be in charge, as if I win or I lose. I want to have only myself to look in the mirror and blame when I feel bad for having a loss.
Since you've achieved the highest honor in mixed martial arts, being UFC champion, and you look back now, did you work as hard then as you did to win the title? Just in all of athletics and everything you had to do.
I think before I did, but it was just a little bit more raw. I think now I train a little bit smarter, and I think there's a piece of me that can use some of what I had before, as far as my mindset when it comes to training. But for the most part, I would say I do train as hard, but I train a lot smarter. Because before, I thought like it was only all about the suffering, and not so much the mental suffering, but the physical suffering. And I would just make myself suffer and suffer and suffer. And a big part of the fight is about the suffering.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah, but it's also about, being able to do it again. How many times can you suffer? And then that's the part where training smart is important, because a lot of guys, they beat the heck out of their bodies, but then they beat it so much that they can't get up and do that too many times in a row, and they may get injured before they actually get a chance to fight.
What was the move like when you left Niagara Falls, you went to Michigan?
The move when I left Niagara Falls to go to Michigan was, it was spontaneous. I wanted to go to Michigan State. I never even visited Michigan State. I had the recruiter come out. And he wanted me to go to Michigan State, but I was looking at some state schools. And this guy in Ithaca College, he says to me, he said, listen, you're a great athlete, you're a great wrestler, but if you go to a Division I school, you can pretty much just count on spending the rest of your career on the sidelines. You're not gonna start. And when he said that to me, I don't think he really meant by it, but I don't think he understood what those words did to me. As a competitor, my nature, I'm like, wait, you don't think I'm good enough to start? So I took that as a personal challenge, and then I went to Michigan State, and I started, and I was a captain.
That was your first time away from moving to Michigan State? Was
first
the first time away from home?
First time away.
Talk about that first week. What was it like being away from everybody that you're used to?
The first week away from being away from my family was hard for me, because I have a very tight, close network and with my friends. My friends are like my brothers, so I was away from my friends, and then I was away from my family. And at the time, I had a daughter. She was 2 years old, and it was hard for me to be away from her because I grew up without my father. And I'm like, dang, I don't want to create this whole situation that I had with my daughter that I had growing up. So I wanted to be the father, and I wanted to be in her life, but I didn't really see no opportunities if I stayed home. So for me, I had to go away. So I had that plan on my mind, and being away from home and not having no money, and my mom wasn't in a position where she could send me money, so I was super broke and just broke in every way. And I remember calling my mom and like, Mom, I just think I might come home and I don't want to do it anymore. And she said, Rashad, whatever you do, Rashad, whatever you do, you wake up every single morning and you decide what you want in your life. And I'm gonna tell you, Rashad, don't you give up. And she told me not to give up, and she told me to stay in there and just continue to push through it. And that's what I did. I just dived into my athletics. I dived into, you know, my studies and stuff like that. And before I knew it, I woke up one day and I almost spent the whole day, and I didn't even think about home one time. And then that's when I knew I was gonna be okay.
Is there one class that you took that surprised you, that you liked? It's like, you know, I've got to take this, this, and this. I'm doing it to wrestle. But then you get into the class and it's like, wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I took a philosophy class, and it was different than any other class. It was like at the 400 level, so it was almost like when I'm getting ready to graduate. But it was one class that actually was the best class I ever taken in my life. And it was a class where the teacher, he taught you, but there wasn't really like a traditional test, like far as like, multiple choice or writing essays. It was pretty much how I interpreted the information. So he made me think. And this whole time that I've been in college, I never had to think. I was only regurgitating thought and somebody else's thought. I never had to really think for myself. And if I had to write a paper, I had to maybe think a little bit, but I really, really had to think. And it was the most challenging, and it was probably the best class I ever had because it taught me how to think.
Did it give you purpose? Did it kind of narrow things down for where you wanted to go?
It did. It narrowed things down a lot. And I remember after taking that class that I was like, man, I don't want to be a psychologist no more. I want to do something else in my life. And that's when I really decided that I really wanted to go and more in the field of like criminal justice and stuff like that, because I felt like I want to help people and I want to be an influence, but at the same time I don't want to just sit and hear people's problems all day and stuff like that. I want to do something where I'm able to go in there and help, or maybe go in there and help a kid like me, because growing up, I swear if it wasn't for my karate coach, his name is Carl Brusino, he pretty much saved me, because I was a bad kid. Like I was, taking out my life aggression on him. Whatever I didn't have, not on him, on other people. Whatever I didn't have on life, I would get mad at other kids, and I'm like, why was I born in a situation where I don't have this and I don't have that, and I was mad at life, and I was angry, and I was headed down the wrong path. But he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about, respect, humility, honor, and all that stuff, and it was one of those pivotal points in my life. And he was a police officer, so that gave me purpose early out, and it kind of taught me how to be a man.
Did you or any of your friends get into any type of trouble that it could have been bad news?
Yeah, we got into some trouble. We got into some trouble that could have been bad news. When I was like 15 years old, me and my friend, we got this little 22. We got this gun, and I had a problem with some kid, and we decided that we were going to shoot him. And God made it so that it just didn't happen. I didn't end up running into this
What drove
kid.
you to that point?
Just bad, just really bad. It was to the point where it was like we were trying to be like hardcore thugs and live that life, and you know what I'm saying. We thought that was a reality that we wanted to go down, because we thought that we can get money that way, and we can do some stuff like that. So we were just some kids who were just misguided for the most part. We were pretty much as much as my mom was an influence in my life and being as strong as she was a single mom. She had to be away. She would work at nights, and she has like 7 kids to look after. She can't watch over me, So I would just go out and do my thing, and I was and I would get into some kind of trouble. But that day when we were going to go and shoot that kid, we couldn't find him. My friend ended up shooting himself by playing with a gun, and that was just like one of those moments in my life where it clicked, and I was like, you know, what am I doing in my life? I don't want this. This is not what I want, and it sent me on a straight and narrow.
What does the word fame mean to you?
Illusion. Fame is an illusion. Fame is something that people give you, but it's whatever people give you, they can take away.
Are you famous?
To other people, yeah. To me, I'm just me.
How has fame affected your life?
Fame has affected my life in many ways, positive and negative, you know?
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think when most people hear the word fame, they think about the money and then the cars and everything that comes with it. I don't think they realize that there can be drawbacks. Can you just kind of elaborate on
There's big drawbacks with fame, you know? People automatically assume a certain thought pattern comes from you because you're famous. You know, people will say stuff like, oh, you think you're all that. When you didn't say anything. Here's the thing about fame. It changes the people around you more than it changes you exactly. Because what happens is this right here. Somebody says, oh, that's Rashad Evans, he's a fighter. And then somebody says, well, that's my brother. That's your brother? Now they become important. And then because of that, they have these expectations of you that they didn't have before. Now all of a sudden, because you're their brother and you're famous and they're famous because you're their brother, now they're trying to push this standard of relationship and trying to push you to be a certain way towards them when that's not how it was in the beginning. So you imagine having that times almost everybody you know, everybody trying to ride on your fame. And it gets to the point where it's like, you know, I appreciate it and for what it's done in my life, and I will never forsake it and say that I would wish it to be gone, but at the same time, it's something that is not always so good, you know?
You lived in Michigan, Niagara Falls, New Mexico, and now Florida. You've got kids, and you still want to achieve greatness in your chosen profession. How do you keep that balance?
That is a question I wake up and I try to answer every day. How do I keep balance? It's like one of those things that it's hard. You know, nobody tells you how are you supposed to live this life. You just kind of live it and just do the best you can by it. But nobody tells you how you live your life, you know? I'm divorced now. My kids, they live in Chicago. But realistically speaking, I can't train in Chicago. There's not the infrastructure for me to be the best that I can be living in Chicago. My team, my training, for me to be at that level, to me to compete, for me to enable for me to be able to use this window of opportunity, because that's all this is just a window of opportunity, a vehicle to get me to the next stage of my life. In order for me to exploit this and make it what it can be for the longevity of my life and theirs, I have to really seize this moment right now. So what do? Do I say, okay, the hell with it, I gotta go there and be with my kids? Or do I say, okay, I really wanna make it so that my kids have an opportunity in life and able to go as far as I can? And it's something that's hard. It's something that I think about all the time. Am I doing the right thing?
You've been able to entertain without using your fists, being on TV and in movies. By the way, Unrivaled's a dirty movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's dirty. What has been that experience? Just that you go from fighting, now you're in front of the camera and you're an action star.
That's amazing, and that's something that when I got into the sport, I didn't even think that could even happen, you know? But I'm very blessed that it is, and I'm very thankful that it has happened like that. That's something that this window and having this opportunity has given me a chance to do. Being able to walk through the door and see other opportunities for me, because I can't fight forever. No matter how bad I am, one day, you know, the sun will set on me. You know, my time is coming to an end. So I gotta be able to see my next door opening, see my next opportunity coming, and being able to seize it and exploit it like I did this one.
You play a good bad guy. Do you, when you hear people booing, how does that affect you? Do you just push it away?
Yeah.
Do you think to yourself, why am I not getting cheered?
I used to get very upset behind it, and I used to not understand it. But then I understand it for what it was. I remember I met somebody one time, and they were like, man, I totally thought you were so much different than you really are. And then it just dawned on me, and it just hit me just like a ton of bricks. And it hit me like when I'm watching, I was watching the WrestleMania. And then I seen these people, and then people booing at these characters. And then I'm like, oh, I get it. That's how they see me. They don't see me as Rashad Evans, you know, who I am as a person. Yeah, father. They don't see me as that. Only people who know me see me like that. But for everybody else, I'm nothing more than just a character. That's all I am, a character. I'm no realer than I'm not even a real person to them. I'm somebody who's on TV, you know? So I can't get mad at them if they boo me, or they don't like me, or they say bad things about me, because they don't like the character. But that's fine. Everybody won't like you.
In 10 years from now, it's the last question. What do you want to be?
In 10 years from now, I want to be happy. That's what I want to be. And whatever that means, wherever this journey may take me, wherever the next journey may take me, that's where my ultimate destination is. And happiness is something that, I shouldn't even say destination, it's something that you can arrive at. It's something you have to discover every single day. But I hope that no matter what I'm doing, I'm able to take a breath of fresh air at the time and be able to smile from my soul.
We have just hung out with the former UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, Rashad Evans. I want to thank you so much for watching Toe to Toe here on Fight Network. I'm John Ramding saying so long. Rashad, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.